here from the Balance Collective, and what I wanted to talk to you about today is what to do if your flexible working request is rejected. So quite often, even if you've put together the most robust flexible working request that's answering all the queries and concerns that's come up, businesses will still refuse it. And this can obviously put a metaphorical brick in the wall, a block in your ability to go back and get the work-life balance that you want. So in an ideal world, in a world that I'm hoping to influence, flexible working requests would be obsolete, because flexible working would be just a normal conversation and it would be automatic by default. It would be looking at what you do, not where you do it or how long you do it for. But obviously there's a long way to go about this. So today what I wanted to do is just talk to you about what will happen if your flexible working request is denied or rejected, and what you can do about it. So at the moment, according to Citizens Advice, there's only a few reasons legitimately that companies can use to reject flexible working requests. So these are things like planned structural changes, the burden of additional costs, quality or standards can suffer, they won't be able to recruit additional staff, performance will suffer, they won't be able to reorganise the work amongst their existing staff, they'll struggle to meet customer demand, or there's lack of work during the periods of work that you propose. So obviously if you have those points in mind, bear that in mind when you're putting your flexible working request together, because those are going to be the reasons they're going to try and reject your flexible working request. So think about how you can overcome those objections. And quite often businesses will just use business reasons. Business reasons are using inverted commas, and they roll that out far too frequently. So if you've put in a flexible working request and you feel like all those points have been answered, what can you do next? So the first thing is you do have the right to appeal. The word appeal seems really dramatic, but it's very simply a meeting to discuss why it's been rejected. So I always recommend people have a compromise position in their mind when they go to a plan B. So have that in mind. Talk through is there any vital information that's been missing in your application? Do you have an opportunity to look at it at another point? So there are occasions where that meeting creates a new flexible working agreement. Now, regardless of how informal this meeting may be, you do have the right to bring somebody with you, so bear that in mind. Some organisations make it very formal, they have HR in place. Sometimes it's just you and a chat over a cup of coffee with your boss, but you always have the right to have someone there. The second thing you can do, which may not help you right now if you've just had that flexible working request rejected, is you can apply again later. So currently everyone has the right to put in one flexible working request in any 12-month period that you've been employed by a company for 26 weeks or more. So basically you need to have been there for 6 months before you actually put in a flexible working request, and then you can do that once every 12 months. So there is a chance to apply again in the future. I know that won't help you right now, but it isn't a once in a lifetime opportunity. So during this period, if you can, could you trial your proposal through annual leave? Is there a way, obviously, as part of your appeal to have a middle ground? The third thing you can do, and this is really important, you can ask for support. Many parents, and especially mothers, carry the mental load of everything. And actually you carry everything and the kitchen sink on your shoulders. So if this flexible working request has been denied, and it really will struggle with everything that you've got to balance in your life, can you actually delegate? Think of life like work. Are there things you can pass on to other people? Are there things that you can stop doing? Can your partner help? Can family help? Can you outsource certain things? Childcare. I know it's frustrating, but it's modern life. Is there a different way you can actually have wraparound school care if your child is at school age? Different childminders. But don't worry about asking for support. It's important that you do that. You don't have to carry life and everything else on your shoulders. So the next thing you can do, if you're in a position where you are in a larger organisation and there are multiple job opportunities, if you feel like the job that you're in now isn't working for you, are there opportunities to move across the company? If your manager doesn't value your skills and experience and isn't sympathetic to your work-life balance and wellbeing needs, maybe somebody else will. Always recommend be upfront in your application about the need for flexible working, and whatever flexible working means for you. It might be condensed hours, it might be partly working from home, or a combination of different things. But make sure the manager that you're applying to knows. Don't apply for the job, accept it, and then say, oh, by the way, I need flexible working hours. That's happened to me as a manager, and trust me, it doesn't get you off on the right foot. Be honest and upfront from the very beginning. People are often a lot more open-minded than you'll give them credit for. So the next thing you do, this might be an opportunity to look for another company. There are lots of organisations out there that are quite open-minded about flexible working, and they'll give you the career and the work-life balance you deserve. There is a range of recommendations of organisations that I have spoken to and I recommend, and I'll put that link below in the comments, that you can go out and find an opportunity that may work better for you. Bear in mind, if you're looking at the moment to return after parental leave and it's been denied, don't necessarily quit straight away. Just check what your terms and conditions are. For a lot of people that have had additional sort of advanced maternity pay or parental pay, you may have to pay that back if you don't go back. Don't let that be the only reason you go back, but just be completely prepared what will happen if you resign before you go back. And obviously, if you're currently in a role, look at your terms and conditions about notice. Final thing you can do is you can put in a complaint. If you feel like you have not been treated fairly or correctly, they haven't gone through the normal process, you can actually put in a formal complaint. If you've appealed and it hasn't been handled properly, you may have options like the internal grievance procedure for the company. You can speak to a trade union if you have one, go through an employment tribunal. There's been a recent change in the law around that. 2 great sites to look at, or 3 great sites actually, is ACAS, so ACAS, an organisation called Pregnant Then Screwed, or Working Families. All give really, really good free advice. And the most important thing to remember is work-life balance and well-being should be an integral part of your career. Whilst flexible working might be needed for practical reasons such as childcare, it's so much more than this. It's not just about that, it's about you living your fullest life. So you do have options and you do have choices. Make sure you know what you need and then work with supportive people to find them. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you found it useful, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.